Now, on a disappointing day for Leitrim football, there was a couple of bright lights, and one of those was the debut, or at least the competitive debut, of Leitrim Gaels player Donal Casey. He's been an up-and-coming minor footballer, an under-20 footballer over the last recent years, and great to see him make his competitive debut at cornerback today for Leitrim. He joins us now. Donal, you're very welcome to the programme.
Hello, Rafi. Thank you very much for having me.
No, you're very welcome. In terms of the game today, what was the thoughts going through your mind? I know you were named in the starting 15 last week to play down. That game didn't happen in the end. So when you knew you were playing today, first of all, how did you find out? When did you find out?
Basically found out, when was it today? No, training yesterday. That's when we found out. We like the whole week we're kind of thinking, oh, what is the starting team or what, but I didn't think about it. Honestly, I didn't think about it. I just thought, if you play, you play. If you don't, you don't. I don't think too much of it.
In terms of today's game, though, how do you come into it? It's your first competitive game. It's a big match. It's one of the biggest games Leitrim have played in a long number of years, a real relegation 4-pointer. Is that anything that comes into your mind? Is there a nerves? Is it excitement? What's your overriding emotion coming into a game like today?
For me, I just thought it was a normal game, really. I never really think about, what's at the end of it. I just think, go out and play your game. I know that's just from my father. He always said, every game's the same. You should always put in the same amount of effort for every game. So I tried not to think about how big of a game it was because I knew that would just put more pressure on myself. So just going up to it, obviously there's nerves, but overall, I wasn't too bad now.
Your dad, you mentioned, of course, I have asked is Joe Casey. He'd be well known in GAA circles as a coach and as a player himself back in his day. But obviously, you got your ability from the other side of the family, from your mum's side of the family. But we won't talk about that too much. In terms of the game today, I suppose it's always a big challenge for a lad coming in making his intercounty debut, no matter what the level, and of course being at senior level and being in the day that was in it, it's a huge task. But let's rewind 7 or 8 months back to the start of all of the lockdown situation, because ultimately, if we're honest about it, you probably weren't necessarily in Terry Highland's plans back in February, January of this year, because you'd only played one competitive adult game of football in your life at that stage, and that was the Connacht Club Championship semi-final last year at intermediate level. You certainly like making debuts on big stages.
Yeah, you're right about that. No, like back then, sure, all I had was club. I was still trying to make my way into the club team, never mind the county team, but it was when lockdown hit, and then I realized we'd more time to like think about where I wanted to go, and then I realized, I might as well go for it. So started off then fairly handy, doing runs and stuff, trying to keep fit, and then got a gym partner, Matthew Early, and then just started hitting the gym hard enough, 6 days a week, doing my runs, putting in the time and effort, and then, well, as you can see, it paid off now in the end. But it was a long few months. But just I thought the time off, I wanted to make sure I made use of the time off instead of sitting on the house and just doing nothing. But it worked out in the end, so it did. Definitely.
In terms of that, because obviously I would have seen you training Matthew, obviously my nephew, you're a cousin of ours as well from my mum, my dad and your mum are first cousins. In terms of, I suppose, that little combination of the two of you, you got your gym equipment together, you decided you were going to make the best of it, and I suppose both of you have pushed on. Matthew's now a starting player with Sligo Rugby Club, and he's pushed on in that regard. You're now a starting cornerback with Leitrim at National League level, and hopefully from your own point of view you'll be involved in the squad next week. In terms of your first club or Connacht Championship debut, would that be a big thing for you? Would you see that as a step up again, or again, no matter, like your dad's advice, it's just another game?
Yeah, well, look, I don't take anything for granted. I know Championship is far different to League, even though it was important today, but Championship is another step up. I know it is, but if it works out that I play, I play. If I don't, I don't, but it's a learning process, the whole lot for me. I'm still learning, and if I play, I'll learn more,
To potentially be 6 days out from a championship game against Mayo, having, I suppose, only really watched them on TV before, is this, how does that work in your head? How do you prepare for something like that?
I don't know, preparation, I just keep my head clear more than anything. I just think about training on Wednesday, make sure I go there and work hard on that day. And just preparation wise, there's nothing. I try not to think about it, because the more you think about it, then that's when accidents happen. And I'll just keep the head clear for the week.
I know we've personally had a bit of a standing joke about having you on the show over the last 18 months, but it's the first time you've been on the show, and I suppose we've had the whole way through the club campaign with Leitrim Gaels, where you really did push the club forward into another light, and today proved that point. You finished the game today with 4 Leitrim Gaels players on the Leitrim 15, which is probably something that even Leitrim Gaels, when they started 25 odd years ago, would never have imagined would be possible, with over a quarter of the team coming from the club. How much does it help having those players, the likes of Brendan Flynn, Aidan Flynn and David Brown, already in that squad to help you and guide you through the first kind of stages of your intercounty career?
It was huge, because when you went in at the start, it was like, oh God, like what am I into? Like, but when you have Aidan and David and Benny, like, they more comfort you like than anything. They kind of make you feel as if you do belong to the team. And obviously other lads, then they start to get to know everybody. But it was good. Like the first few trainings, it was scary now, I must say. But having them lads obviously helped so much, made you feel far more comfortable.
Let's go back to that training regime over the lockdown, because let's give a picture to listeners in terms of what actually you put into, I suppose, improving yourself and improving your strength and your conditioning over that period when you had that, I suppose, break of 3 or 4 months in training. Your schedule for the week, how many gym sessions, how many runs, what would your week have looked like in terms of your own personal training regime?
Well, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, gym. And then I broke up the runs into Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. So me and Matthew, we did have a schedule of what we wanted to do in the gym within them days. Then you had the day off on a Sunday where you could recover. But we did it out so that every muscle had time to recover in between. So, a lot of time we had, we could actually schedule it out properly, and there was nothing getting in between it. So it worked perfectly. And
missed sessions, missed days, was that an option, or did you just power through?
No, with Matthew. Early. No, there's no missed days. And if you did miss a day, you do something else to make sure you make up for it.
Yeah, no, it's been... how much do you put it down to that, I suppose, having that buddy, that training partner that's going to push you as much as you want to push yourself?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. And I think anyone out there that's doing gym work or anything, I think a gym partner is the best thing to have, because it's on them days where you wake up and the last thing you want to do is go to the gym, and then you have someone beside you saying, you get down to this gym now, no other choice. And it's them days that it splits people. People are dedicated, people that aren't. It's the people that push that extra day. They're the ones that make it. So it was huge on both ends. Yeah.
Of course, Matthew picked rugby at various stages. You're also, I suppose, in the same clique, in the same village, I suppose, as Niall Moran, who's gone on to play soccer with Sligo Rovers. There's only 12 to 18 months between the three of you. You all went to, I suppose, national school, or you don't know each other from school. In terms of, I suppose, the choices you've made, you would have been a talented soccer player, a talented basketball player, but you've made the decision to play with Leitrim. Why is that? Why have you chosen a different path maybe than the other two lads that you're quite friendly with have done?
Yeah, I don't know. Back at the time when I had a decision to make, either soccer or basketball or football, it was more the family. It was in the family. Football's everything. Football was always number one. So when other people would probably, if I had to decide between soccer and Gaelic training, I'd have always stuck to the side of Gaelic training, especially with my father training the teams. There's no way you could miss games or anything for other sports. But yeah, it was more the tradition. And now I look back and I think, would I do different? And I don't know, because you never know. If I could have went down to soccer and didn't make it, I'd have always come back to football either way. So it's hard to know, especially at this age.
I suppose on a more immediate level, Killian Gaffey, I saw on the bench today for Leitrim. He was involved in the squad as well. He's currently with Sligo Rovers. Can you mix the two? Would that have been an option for you at any stage? I know you left a lot earlier than the leagues hadn't really kicked in. I think you finished up playing soccer around under 14, and those underage leagues didn't kick in maybe till a year or two afterwards, so you probably didn't have that choice at the time.
Yeah, well, you probably could. Like, it'd be tough going, and then with everything else going on, school, anything else. But the big thing for me was traveling, up to Sligo, to what other country or other counties you'd be in. I couldn't mingle the two of them. And then obviously I was doing other sports as well, like athletics and everything. I just found it tough. So I just said, one year I'll just stick at the football. I said I'll go full-fledged at the football, and I've been here ever since. That's the way it's just ended up now.
I suppose all those other sports is Leitrim GAA's gained. It was great to see you make your not championship debut. That hopefully will come next week. But your inter-county competitive debut today, and well done. And despite the result, a fine performance from everybody that took to the field today for Leitrim. And I'm sure it won't be the last time we see you in a Leitrim jersey, or hopefully the last time we have you on the show either. Donal, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Rafi. Cheers.